everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Urban legends, missing heaven, hookman coming for you, missing 15 minutes. A.J. wrote it, Sammy reads it, Mothman's flying at you, missing 15 minutes.
Welcome one and all to Missing 15 Minutes, where I, the great Sam Rossi, read a script written by A.J. Carey. Today is something I don't think I've heard of, and A.J. hadn't really heard of it to any extent. Wow.
Before we actually start, I'd like to say I'm sorry about if you guys hear the fans going. You may or may not have heard of this certain thing that, is hot.
We hit 100 degrees yesterday, and we hit 96 today, and it's humid, it's muggy, it's just miserable, and the fans make life less miserable. So we apologize, and at some point we will get a place that's air conditioned.
Now then, you can go back to what you're doing. Oh, I'm A.J. Carey. You may proceed.
A Grimm fairy tale that is a deep cut. Excellent. Spoiler alert. There will be blood and deals with the devil and amputation. So if you're here for dancing frogs or a pumpkin carriage, stick around. We need the engagement. Our story begins with a poor miller. Because they're always poor, right? One day while wandering through the woods, or wherever millers wander, he makes a deal with a mysterious stranger who promises him wealth and if he just hands over what's behind his mill. Classic mistake, because what's behind the mill is his daughter.
Dun, dun, dun!
And it's not just any stranger, either. Like every stranger ever, it's actually the devil, with a capital D, horns, hellfire, hell of a fiddler.
He is a hell of a fiddler.
No, he doesn't look like the devil. You know how easy it is for the miller to say yes in these stories. It's almost like economic disparity leads to poor life choices, especially for your kids. So the devil goes to collect, but the girl is so pure, like Disney princess in a baptismal font, kind of pure.
Wow, you got through baptismal font.
Worst part is that I had it too far up, so I'm only getting the bottom letter, so my brain's like, you got this, we're not screwing up. Anyways.
Disney princess in a baptismal font is where you're at.
Kind of pure. That the devil himself couldn't touch her. And since this is from the 1800s, that translated to her being clean physically. So the devil gives her a week to sully herself, either go to an orgy or just dig in some dirt. But she's no fool. She washes herself thoroughly every day, even crying on her hands to make them clean. So the devil, furious, returns to Daddy and says, look, if I can't take her soul, I'll take her hands. In a move that earned this father a world's second worst dad mug, the miller agrees. He chops off her hands. I wish I had a joke there. Just damn, that's an exclamation. Really is. She survives this, but is left abandoned in the woods. Alone and wounded, she is guided by angels to a royal garden where fruit trees grow. With no hands, she leans down to eat only with her mouth. The king catches her, but instead of arresting her for fruity trespassing, he's smitten. There is a joke in here about mouth skills, but I'm going to ignore it. True story. He marries her, even better. Gives her silver hands. Oh, a new life. All the fun stuff that would be happily ever after. But the devil isn't done. But Devil's not done. He intercepts letters between the king and his mother while the king is away at war, twisting the messages till the queen, our heroine, is told her husband wants her executed. But the mother-in-law, unlike her father, is not evil. She sends the girl away into hiding with her newborn son. Years passes. Her real hands grow back.
'Cause she's a lizard.
Symbolism, folks, healing rebirth and growth, or she's a lizard. And this is how the royal family actually got started. Eventually, the king returns, finds the forgery, searches for his wife. They reunite in the forest. This is a fairy tale, so yes, it's the same forest. And everyone lives happily ever after, except the devil, who presumably flames in hell about how he got beat by a handless girl with a pure heart and a decent aim with her teeth. Then he decided to take up the fiddle, but that's another story.
Now I made my own continuity there. I made my own continuity mistake. I said he was a hell of a fiddler. And then I ended the story with, and then he decided to head...
You ended one paragraph with, but the devil didn't. To start the next paragraph, but the devil didn't.
Oh, that's my writing? Sam, when this comes out, this comes out the day after you decide the first paragraph of the Bobby Joe Long.
No, this comes out after Bobby Joe Long.
No.
Yes.
Oh, you're right. Last week was Rumple. I'm sorry. We're currently trying to get back to where the hell we are.
We're trying to get back on track. We're having a problem. The train keeps jumping. So yes, there's another. This is another original of the 1812 Grimm fairy tales, and I don't honestly think I've ever heard it. But there's a ton of versions, even popular pre-Grimm. Some with it being her brother who promised her to the devil. No, I'm not going to write a joke here, Sam.
Sorry.
It's okay. There should have been there should have been a comma there.
You could have read it like you were actually realized I was the one reading it to you. There's many different things.
So what is the story really about? Some say it's about spiritual integrity. Others point out the trauma, the way women in fairy tales are punished and still have the moral. Others point out the trauma, the way women in fairy tales are punished and still have to be the moral center. There's something haunting in the way her suffering leads to freedom, but only through pain and loss. So she walked alone, lose her hands, raise her child in exile. It's brutal, but she survives. She changes, and maybe that's the moral hiding beneath all this melodrama. Change isn't possible; it's inevitable, even if it costs you everything. That's it for this episode of Mything. If you like this grim tale, share it with your fairy tale loving friends, and don't forget, watch out for cloaked strangers in the woods, especially ones who want to trade you gold. Gold like our Patreon. $5 hard US gets you everything unedited and the fun talking head blanking show. And the fun talking head show blanking 15 minutes, which is a 45 minutes on average. Be our devil. Come on!
You like that last paragraph?
Are we going to add that to everything?
No, just this one.
Okay.
I'm testing it out. But since you don't breathe, it literally goes from you talking about the thing to instantly jump into that. Okay, breathing. It's really nice. You did read it very well, though. So anyways, yes, become our patrons. We need a devil. Maybe we'll do like $100 tier just for the shits and giggles, just to call it the devil makes us do it.
Is that like the $100, the $10,000 tier on Illuminati?
Sure.
Well, if somebody actually donates 10 grand,
I know. Yes,
whoever it is that doesn't believe in aliens will believe in aliens.
I also usually, for my comic archivist, which, by the way, is out now. The first issue now is back up and running. As well as the first episode of Then and Now for Action Comics #1. Look those up wherever you get your podcast kicks. Possibly on YouTube too, but that really depends.
We need a drawing tablet. Please. If you can't be a patron.
If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter.
That's what went through my head, and I did not want to say that. Anyways, if you can't be a patron or an Apple subscriber, you can always share us around or donate at a one-time donation at Buy Us a Coffee. Well, buy me a coffee, but
I know what you mean. It's okay. They can buy you a coffee. Buy you an ounce. Get you 15 years. Sorry. Anyway.
Not anymore.
So anyways, for this one, I was actually really surprised because I really have never... I've heard variations of it. Like, it's... While this specific version I've never heard, I've heard of, you know, someone who's so pure that the devil can't touch them. Or I've heard, you know, where, like, the miller... Although, the one story that kept popping into my head was... There was a miller or someone like that who chopped his daughter's leg off so she couldn't run from the devil.
Okay, I vague recollection.
Like, it's one of those things where it's... I've heard some variations thereupon.
Yeah, but...
Or at least they're parallel stories enough that it makes you think about the other.
Mm-hmm.
That when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's cool. And you wanted to do fairy tales.
I like fairy tales.
I do too. And they are myths. Technically, they're folklores, and we only call them fairy tales because the compilation that the Grimms put out in 1812...
It's now 8:30. Are your spawns in bed?
No. One's in the shower. The other's in bed. So it was one of those interesting things of reading it, and I'm like, oh, because I've also heard the variation on the brother. I've also heard other folk... Like, again, it's one of those things where it's like... There's enough of, like, the... There's still the Grimm fairy tales thing to it.
Yes.
But it's also not very grim because... But to be fair, I think the reason that it's a deep cut... A deep cut, for anyone who doesn't know, is like... You know... Oh, wow, it's the bottom of the iceberg. Or it's not...
It's on page 3 of Google.
It's on page 3 of Google. That's nice.
I'm just...
No, that's a good way to... Because generally deep cut is considered like... an underappreciated or really underplayed song on a record or
Right.
stuff like that, you know. It's like a deep dive, except it's a deep cut. It's a reference that you really have to be in it to win it, to get it.
Yep.
And like this, I didn't know it at all. It's a really nice story, too.
It is, and I remember Mom reading us Grimm fairy tales as kids.
Yeah.
So I don't remember... I would assume that it would have been in that book.
You would assume, but... You know, it really depends, because especially over the years... I think maybe... I want to do an episode of mything, not necessarily on myths and whatnot, but like talking about the evolution of Grimm fairy tales over the years.
Yeah.
Because you have the 1812 cuts, but then you have the post-Disney cuts. Where, you know, then all of a sudden they start, like... Even if they didn't try and make The Little Mermaid happily ever after, or add the
Right.
happily ever afters, they would... Different editions would come out that was like... Even if it says the complete works of the Grimm's brothers.
Right.
The Brothers Give. Oh, sorry, the Brothers Gibb.
Brothers Gibb.
About their song. About a deadly fever that only attacks on Saturday.
The only reason I know what that song's about, I've listened to it.
Oh, it's the 10th Kingdom all the way.
Because I've listened to it and I've sung along with it.
And there's a guy... There's a guy who got fucked over by Lorelai Gilmore the most.
Scott, what is his real name?
Excuse me. It was Max.
Yeah, he's Max and, but his real name's Scott.
Mr. Medina.
Mr. Medina. Max Medina.
Max Medina. I know, it's Scott Hudson?
No.
But, yes. Sorry. I have to throw in my Gilmore Girls sense somewhere. And we just referenced 10th Kingdom,
Yep.
which then naturally means we have to talk about Wolf, which naturally means I have to bring up the Gilmore Girls. Because
Yep.
honestly, as much as I love Luke and Lorelai, Max tried.
Max really did try, but...
But he also got hit hard with, I'm just the filler boyfriend, not a filler boyfriend, but I'm the starting point boyfriend syndrome. Because you already knew that Luke and Lorelai was endgame.
Yes.
You know. So, having anyone there, it's like, I'm sorry, Chet, you're out.
Out of all her boyfriends, I like Luke, but that's because I like Luke.
Dude, I think...
Scott Peterson is a great freaking...
I was about to say, I think...
Patterson? Scott Patterson,
Patterson.
I think? Yeah.
I think that, honestly, that's where I think they really hurt themselves, when they wanted to do the Jess spin-off show, what they needed it to be was a Luke and Jess road trip show or something,
Okay.
because Scott Patterson and
Milo.
Milo Venetiego, or whatever his last name is, those two had the chemistry of the show. Let's be clear here.
Out of all the chemistry, I do like Rory's, Lorelai's, and Emily's. The three of them together, okay? Just even if it's just actually Kelly Bishop and Lauren Graham. If it's just those two, they play off each other well. And then you got Rory there as a
Sam,
straight...
time.
What?
We're going to cut all of this out anyways.
Yeah, I know. All right. So, anybody who's on Patreon just heard our Gilmore Girls rant. If you want to hear more about Gilmore Girls, let me know in the comments.
Please visit your local public library.
Leave it in the comments or come over to Facebook, Carry On Prod. We will.
We'll do an entire blanking 15 minutes on Gilmore Girls. We should.
We should.
With how much we should. There's also other things we really want to do. Like, I really like the idea of doing the I Was Never a Teen Girl podcast.
We could do that once we...
Because then we could also get into shows that me and you never got into, like Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, I never got into that.
And I never really got into One Tree Hill, but Allison was a fanatic of it.
I liked watching One Tree Hill until they graduated and they just made everything.
Well, that's the problem with any high school show. Once you hit the graduation point, you have a solid 3-year plan with any high school show.
Yes.
Maybe 4-year, depending on where you want to do it.
Well, what they...
But then they always go, wow, this is popular. So after 4 years, we have to follow half the cast when they go to New York City. And then we follow new people in school. I think I just gave the plot to Glee, actually.
You did give the final season of Glee, basically.
Well, Leia Michelle will never become Funny Girl. Again.
Anyways, so, if you want to hear what you missed, join our Patreon or Apple subscription. I'm Sam Rossi.
And I'm A.J. Carey.
If
Later.
you're out on your own. Later, y'all.
Get the fuck out.
Missing 15.
Keep on carrying on.
C-A-R-E.
Y.
Because
Carry On Production.